Becoming an authority is the marriage of credibility and expertise. Being seen as credible is one thing. It's foundational to being seen as an expert, and particularly to be seen as an authority. And as we're going to cover in a minute, becoming an authority is the marriage of credibility and expertise. It's the progression along the journey. So being seen as credible is foundational. And then you want to take that credibility and position yourself as the expert. And there are so many ways that you can do this. You can write blogs. You can write your own blog, and you can guest write on other people's blogs. You can write LinkedIn articles. Short and sweet, but pick one thing. Try to get yourself on a schedule. Maybe it's one a month to start, and then maybe it's one every other week, and then eventually maybe it's once a week, and you start to be able to repurpose your content. So maybe one week, the article that you post on a blog, you then repurpose that and make a LinkedIn article. So it's not that you have to create new content all the time, but in order to position yourself as an expert, you want that content to be visible on as many platforms as possible. And you want to space it out, so recycle them. So if the piece of content is a blog this week, then maybe wait and next month put it as a LinkedIn article. You can also recycle it to guest write for online publications. That is a way. It's an online publication that you can apply to be an executive contributor. They will interview you. They'll kind of look through all your materials. They'll qualify you. And if you're accepted, now that's another feather in your cap that positions you as an expert. So you can guest write, like I said, for online publications. I highly suggest that as you start really leaning into positioning yourself as an expert, you look into publishing on Medium. It's got a low barrier to entry, so it's a good place to start. I will also be writing on Medium for the same reason. Become a contributor to local publications. So your Chamber of Commerce will have newsletters, or local business associations. Most places will have a local women in business chapter, or a young entrepreneurs chapter, or just an entrepreneur chapter of something in general. Really, the sky's the limit with local publications. But even if you're starting with a neighborhood publication, it doesn't matter. Just start getting yourself out there. And again, you can repurpose the content. You don't have to write new stuff for everybody. Be a guest on podcasts. If you haven't already done so, hop onto Facebook and search in the little search bar, type podcast collaborations, or be a guest on podcasts, or just podcasts. There are a ton of free groups on Facebook that you can join. And most of them work in a way where it's find a guest and be a guest. So it's free to join. You join the podcast community. If you have a podcast and you're looking for people to be on it, you would just hashtag find a guest. And then you would put the parameters of what your podcast is, or what the episode is that you're looking to shoot, so that people in the group know, oh, they're looking for a mindset coach, or they're looking for a lifestyle coach, or they're looking for a speaker. So same thing in those same groups. If you want to be on somebody's podcast, not only can you search the group for the hashtag find a guest and then read people's posts, but you can also post hashtag be a guest and list the different things that you could speak about. So it's free, it's easy. These are not paid podcasts, so you're not going to pay to be on the podcast. You're also not going to get paid to be featured as a guest on the podcast, but it's an amazing way to start to build your your brand, to build your visibility, and to position yourself as an expert. So the more podcasts you can get on, the more you're going to be able to kind of build that resume of your expert resume, as I like to call it. And you should definitely be keeping a list. I know a lot of you are on different things, but you may not have started a list. It's much easier to start it now. So just like you would build a traditional resume with your past jobs, I want you to start keeping a list of places you're published, places you're speaking, any interviews that you're being that you're doing. That can even be like, obviously, on Love Speaks, that's going to go on your list. But also when you are being featured to give a testimonial, that's still you being featured, right? So literally be creative, but start to build your list of appearances, so to speak. That's going to help you when you start to move up the food chain. So right now, a lot of these things you can do on your own. They're free, they're easy. Like I said, the blogs, the LinkedIn articles, the guest writing for online publications, the contributing to local publications, to being guests on podcasts. All of those are free and things that you can start doing right now.